Welcome back. It's the beginner's writing journey, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about characters, because think about this, the main characters, or two, or story dependent, there's always a lead character of some kind, and there's a cast always of support characters, think like Star Trek, and they kind of drive the plot and they populate our story world. You see, a book or a story is a world, isn't it? In a way, we kind of believe as writers is going to interest and intrigue the reader, because that's kind of part of our job. Now, there's something I call the who cares test. We create characters that people love or like, or genuinely intrigued by and engaged by, and importantly, who really make us care about them, because that's essential. I'll just give you a TV film story analogy. Think of all those big series, the cop and hospital series, Star Wars, Star Trek, CSI, Lord of the Rings, all the Marvel characters. These are characters who we all find one or two from that we really like and we care about. Bam, the writer's got you. Because we follow those characters and their journeys. Now, at the time of me recording this, there's a new Superman movie apparently coming out. And that character has been intriguing filmgoers for 30 odd years, more. Because each movie gets a huge audience. Why? That main character, Superman, and his support characters. Because people love Superman, and his friends, and his enemies. I know you do. Now, once you're confident you've got your main character or characters, now you can think about the support characters. And they come and they go, but they help drive the story along. They've got to be strong and believable, whatever the genre, and most importantly, engaging. Remember, they're going on the story journey with your readers. And often they drive that narrative along with their actions and inactions. They can be a sidekick, a partner, a romantic interest, a double crosser, a magical being. That's all part of your imagination and the narrative. Referring back to that book of mine, Circular Motion, I was really happy that I created some lovable, likeable, funny, touching, and unlikable and horrible characters too. But I just thought that people would really keep reading to see what they did next, because I thought they might genuinely care about them, or feel sorry for them, or wanted to see them get their comeuppance. Think James Bond and the villain at the end. You see, to me, the important and the real trick in so many stories is that, isn't it? The old comeuppance, where the villain gets punished somehow. It's a bit moral, I know, but it kind of gives us hope that some baddies don't always win. Like I say, James Bond, perfect example, because you always wait to see how he finally gets the bad guy, and usually he always does. Now, again, that who cares test. Let's see if the characters and the situations are strong enough to make people care enough about them to actually come on that journey. Being original completely, it's difficult, I know. In essence, we've seen it all before, right? Every story, type of character. But it doesn't matter, because we, I believe, can create unique characters and situations. We just use our imaginations. I'm the same as you. I'm influenced by books and films and TV stuff. But I can't help it. But I tell you what I can help. Don't copy. Really look for it. I mean, just for fun, I once wrote some cop characters before I wrote a short story audiobook called The Crime Files, and it involved various police people, and my list included, so I didn't go off the thing, cliches: the maverick, the world-weary cop, the corrupt cop, the alcoholic cop. And I wrote that little list so I didn't write people like that, because I've seen them in every single cop drama. Sometimes that can be fun, just to see which characters you're not going to write. Avoid those cliched people. But the premise, the whole premise, back to my Circular Motion book, the premise and framework of that entire novel is that you follow a series of apparently unconnected people in Canada and America. But the original premise, or the writing plot device, is a falling satellite, and it gets through the atmosphere and hits the ground in a few tiny pieces, but it causes a domino effect and interactions all over the place wherever it hits the earth, Canada and America. That's it. That's it. The whole narrative. Because that's what twists and turns and keeps you guessing and hopefully laughing. because all the characters' lives get changed throughout my story, all because of one catalyst event, a piece of a falling satellite, which breaks into pieces in the atmosphere, but it doesn't burn up completely. That's the clever bit. But it sets the whole thing in motion. That's the title, Circle in Motion. And I'm hoping, and I think, people will care about the characters because they're funny, dangerous, lovable, dodgy, downright bad, or horrible. And they cover a wide range and, importantly, I think, believable and recognisable. Remember I said believability. We do like the familiar. People we've seen or met or read about. And again, that's a key component in creating believable characters that drag people along and keep them engaged in the story. Now here it is, the map book. Again, using that synopsis bullet pointed as you start, it's time to write a more detailed map book, as I call it, with a timeline section or even set of timelines, plus your characters' backstories. Remember, those programs help you do that. Because that's your master plan, right? Your guide reference notes. And it has lots more specific things, the dates and the places and the background information that is laid out as you go. That way you haven't got to remember it all the time. You can nip back and check the map book. You need the person's right name, don't you? Their connections to each other. In other words, as you write, you can note down all the relevant information that you're making up because you're going to access it maybe 3 chapters along. Like, what's your character's brother's name? You already told us about their military past or their dog, but what's their name? Where did they train? That's really important because it's believable, because you will move back and forth a lot. I mean, if you're writing a thriller or a detective or a fantasy piece, you might want to pop back. All these stories play with time and multiple characters to fill out the action of the story. And developing these backstories and then remembering and adding notes about them gives you that map book. It's that guide. It potentially sets you up every time. And it'll influence all the stuff that happens in the book. Remember, when you write, you get tons of details and information. Can you remember it all? I can't. So having that map book, which I use every time, allows me to refer to it and move backwards and forwards, relaxed and confident. It's a reference manual, if you want, that you build as you go. I cannot overstress it's important, because that map book, well, in Circular Motion, the novel I keep talking about, I based this section on that because, and I'm pleased to say, on the Story Hive, just listen to it, grab the ebook if you want, but that map book helped me write that book. It was invaluable because I could go backwards and forwards and keep referring to things. I didn't have to remember everything. You see, you've got an imagination, and sometimes as you write, you might miss a detail, but the reader might not. Now, you thought about that 3 months ago. Are you going to remember it? No. Now, characters names, specific information, that is all in the map book. Because if you keep popping backwards and forwards, you get a new angle, or maybe a whole new story direction. Remember, this is about enjoying what you're doing and having a good time. So, with that in mind, happy writing.